Good evening, you're now with me, Lorenzo Isaac, for TVS Nightline. Here are the headlines for tonight. Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim sets out to immediately meet with US Secretary Marco Rubio tomorrow to bring up concerns that came after Trump imposed the 25% tariff against Malaysia. The EU wants to strike a deal with US to avoid sweeping tariffs. If negotiation fails, it has prepared a counter-tariff plan worth $117 billion. And back in Malaysia, KL Fashion Week promises bigger, bolder and better things ahead of the showcase. But first, the Premier Sarawak, Datuk Pendingin Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg, has arrived in Tokyo, Japan for a two-day working visit in conjunction with the World Hydrogen Asia 2025. Abang Johari and his delegation arrived at the Narita International Airport at 5:25 p.m. local time.
Accompanying him are the State Secretary, Dato' Amar Muhammad Abu Bakar Marzuki, Deputy Minister of Energy and Environmental Sustainability, Dato' Dr. Hazlan Abang Hipni, as well as the Deputy State Secretary, Economic Planning and Development, Dato' Seri Dr. Muhammad Abdullah Zaidel. On Thursday, the Premier will be presenting his keynote address regarding Sarawak's green energy entitled Sarawak's Hydrogen Vision, Catalyzing Green Growth for ASEAN and Beyond. His keynote address will focus on Sarawak's latest hydrogen energy roadmap, the integrated strategy for renewable energy development, public-private partnership PPP, as well as investment in hydrogen technology for mobility solutions and future export potential. Afterwards, Abang Johari is scheduled to join a panel discussion on supporting hydrogen policy across the Asia-Pacific APAC region, which will be joined by Director General of International Policy for Carbon Neutrality, Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry Japan, Shinichi Kihara, Advisor, Ministry of Energy, Saudi Arabia, Osama Melabari, and Research Fellow, Research Institute for Democracy, Society and New Technology, Taiwan, Dr. Tsai Ying Lu. The Premier will then head back to the land of Hornbill on July 11th.
Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim has confirmed that he will meet with US Secretary of State Marco Rubio tomorrow to discuss the new reciprocal tariff issues imposed by the United States against Malaysia. Anwar explained that he will detail the issue and present arguments for consideration before a final decision is made by President Donald Trump.
We have sent teams to negotiate and explain the position that ours is a trading nation. And therefore, any unilateral tariffs would, of course, impact negatively on the economy of this country and this region. But we are still in the midst of negotiations. And when I meet Secretary Rubio tomorrow, I will certainly raise some of these issues for his consideration, so they can also take up to the for the final before the final decision by President Trump.
He also revealed that the US has given a deadline until August to conduct negotiations before finalizing any decisions on the tariff. Anwar further stressed that the trade relationship between Malaysia and the US must be maintained. The US Embassy in Malaysia confirmed that Rubio will be in Kuala Lumpur from July 8 to 12 to participate in the post-ASEAN Foreign Ministers Conference, the East Asia Summit Foreign Ministers Meeting, and the ASEAN Regional Forum Foreign Ministers Meeting, as well as to meet with senior Malaysian government officials. On Tuesday, Trump announced that a 25% import tariff will be imposed on Malaysia starting August 1st. This figure is 1% higher than the rate announced in April. Trump said this measure was necessary to protect U.S. industries from what he described as unfair trade practices by several countries.
Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim stated that ASEAN is currently in an excellent position as it continues to gain high levels of respect and recognition in the global arena. This is due to the continued strong interest and enthusiasm shown by world leaders to engage with ASEAN. Meanwhile, the President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, and the President of Brazil, Lula da Silva, will participate in ASEAN platforms as representatives of their respective regions.
I've just returned, as you know, from Rio. I was in Italy, France before that. Without exception, meeting leaders, of course, bilateral sessions with Malaysia, but without exception, they all ask about ASEAN. Everyone have recognized the role of ASEAN. ASEAN now has come and achieved a spectacular position, measure of respect and recognition internationally.
The government still has time to negotiate with the United States following the announcement of a new 25% tariff imposed on the country's exports. Minister of Investment, Trade and Industry, MITI, Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz, stated that discussions should continue to ensure that the people are not adversely affected should the tariff rate be enforced. However, he stressed that the 1% increase is not a significant figure compared to what other neighbouring countries face.
1% itu bukanlah nombor yang besar. Kita masih lagi rendah berbanding dengan negara-negara jiran kita seperti Thailand, Indonesia dan sebagainya. Yang penting ialah ini belum efektif lagi, ya. Efektif pada 1 hari bulan Ogos. Setakat inilah. Kita akan teruskan dengan rundingan. Dan penting juga yang seperti saya sebut tadi, kita tidak boleh berkompromi bila isu ini, kalau ada isu berkenaan kedaulatan negara, isu yang mengenai memastikan rakyat kita tidak terkesan dengan apa-apa keputusan. Perbincangan ini bukan saja perbincangan mengenai tarif, perbincangan ini perbincangan mengenai non-tarif barrier juga, mengenai undang-undang yang kita ada, ya, undang-undang yang kita rasa penting untuk negara kita, yang kita tidak boleh berkompromi.
The body of a man who went missing while fishing in Kampong Pandam, Limbang on Tuesday has been found. Limbang Zone 7 Fire Chief Superintendent Ramlan Marajan confirmed that the body of Karim Osman, 58, was discovered at 2:28 p.m. today by a village volunteer firefighting team from Kampong Seberang, Kedai.
Operasi pencarian menggunakan kaedah pencarian di permukaan telah dijalankan ke arah hilir Sungai Limbang. Dan pada jam 2.28 petang, mangsa telah ditemui oleh pasukan SAR, pasukan bomba sukarela Kampung Seberang Kedai, yang turut serta dalam operasi mencari dan menyelamat. Mayat mangsa ditemui dalam keadaan sempurna di kawasan yang terletak kurang 1 kilometer dari lokasi mangsa dilaporkan hilang dan seterusnya diserahkan kepada pihak polis untuk tindakan selanjutnya.
The countdown to Malaysia's biggest fashion event has officially begun as Kuala Lumpur Fashion Week is returning bigger, bolder and better. Scheduled to take place from August 4th to 10, KLFW remains steadfast in its commitment to bringing Malaysian fashion to greater heights. According to KLFW founder Andrew Tan, the prestigious event will continue to be a platform that champions local creativity that is bold, original and innovative.
A movement that now carries the weight of over 100 designers, countless collections, and a growing audience that no longer asks, what is Malaysian fashion? But instead, what's next? And that's why Kuala Lumpur Fashion Week 2025 just isn't another showcase, it's a statement. Because in a world where fashion capitals are recycling old glamour at higher prices, we're choosing to create something original, something honest, something rooted in culture but driven by innovation.
Speaking at the KLFW 2025 media launch on Wednesday, Andrew Tan revealed that this year's event will feature 55 local designers, including famous entities like Afiq M, Izzati Amira, Hatta Dolmat, Mimpi Kita, Neonate and Private Stitch. They will take the stage alongside prominent labels such as Bahati, Fizzywu, Kitwu, Rizman Ruzaini and others. KLFW 2025 will also mark the debut of emerging brands including Arduel, Raduan Raziwil and Shaznash. For this edition, KLFW will take place at a new location, the Esplanade KL City Park, with a custom-built structure worth millions of ringgit as a tribute to the iconic ideas of local fashion designers. Meanwhile, Adjutan also called on Malaysians to support homegrown talent, building a lasting legacy and strengthening the nation's creative industry.
In 2025, our focus sharpens. We will elevate more homegrown designers. We will deepen our collaboration with brands who believe in this mission. And we will give our audience more reasons to be proud, not just of what they wear, but of where it comes from.
KLFW 2025 promises to spotlight more designers, fresh concepts and new creative energy, all while maintaining its commitment to showcase the very best of Malaysia to the world.
Meanwhile, Kuala Lumpur Fashion Week continues to be an inclusive and progressive platform, not only in scale and concept, but also in its effort to involve talents from across the country. Andrew Tan expressed his desire to collaborate with young and talented fashion designers from Sarawak and Sabah as part of efforts to bridge the gap between designers from Peninsular Malaysia and Borneo.
I am fully wanting to develop and always engage with potential designers from Sabah and Sarawak. That's for sure. I'm very open to it because we need to engage East Malaysians with West Malaysian as one Malaysia lah. So, but for me, if there's an opportunity to work with designers from Sabah and Sarawak, I'm all for it. Yes.
In an interview with TVS following the KLFW 2025 media launch, Andrew Tan revealed that this year's lineup includes Mel, a designer from Sabah, who will be showcasing her label Maud J. He sees her participation as a positive step towards increasing representation from Borneo in future editions. To aspiring fashion talents in Sarawak, Andrew encouraged them to take initiative and reach out, showing them there's nothing to fear in stepping forward.
Never feel afraid to come forward, write to us, KL Fashion Week. You know, if you feel that you know that you have something that you feel that you would like to show, speak to us.
Andrew also emphasized that KLFW remains committed to supporting designers even after the event concludes, focusing on areas such as business growth, expanding customer reach, and ensuring the longevity of their brands.
On to world news. The European Union wants to strike a deal with the United States in the coming days to avoid sweeping tariffs. If the EU does not clinch an agreement with the United States, higher tariffs will return and risk unleashing a bitter trade war. EU trade spokesman Olof Gill said the United States has moved its deadline for finalizing deals with partners countries to the 1st of August.
The United States has moved its deadline for finalising deals with partner countries to the 1st of August. However, we aim to reach a deal before then, potentially even in the coming days. We have shown our readiness to reach an agreement in principle, and the Commission has consulted closely with our Member States and industry to ensure that there is a high degree of cohesion in our overall EU approach.
US President Donald Trump's sweeping levies were due to snap back into force on July 9th, but he extended the deadline this week to August 1st. This type of accord would likely be thin on detail, meaning more negotiations would be needed to flesh it out. EU diplomats say the European Commission, in charge of trade policy for the 27th country bloc, could continue talks until August 1st. The EU expects Trump to keep a 10% baseline tariff on EU goods with exemptions for critical sectors like airplanes, spirits, and cosmetics. It is worth noting that the EU has also prepared counter-tariffs on US goods worth around 100 billion euros or equivalent to $117 billion if negotiations fail.
Those were the updates on TVS Nightline. I'm Lorenzo Isaac. Thank you for watching and have a good night.